Hey everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Cabosin. I'm here by myself today. Actually, Andrew is away. He's taking a course, so I have a guest. Laura June is going to be joining me from Vancouver today. We're going to be talking about real estate in both markets and pricing strategies to help you get the best price for your particular market. But first, we're just going to go over what the stats are for this week. So new listings. We have 342 new listings this week and 278 pending. So our list to sale ratio has moved from 1-to-1 to slightly less than that. Price decrease, we're at 44. So this is more than we've seen previously. And we're going to talk about that today. Why is that happening in a hot market? And then you can see back on market one, sometimes a seller may take a listing off the market just because they're interested in getting some work done, maybe fix something up and then putting it back on the market. And then the solds are properties that sold probably between 6 and 8 weeks ago, and those have been completed now. In terms of sales, compared to last year, net unconditional sales are already at 598. And this is almost about where we are in a normal market. Last year, we were at 287. New listings were at 853. That's greater than last year at 667. But overall, our active listings are at 1,449. And this is about 1,000 less to 1,500 less than what we normally have in a normal market. And last year, we saw those numbers start to creep up to 2,305. And that's because a number of people listed their homes in the market and they weren't selling. So we're just going to bring in our guest here. So I'm just going to hide this. Hello, Laura June. How are you?
Great. Good morning, Jane. How are you?
I'm well. So how was your weekend?
You know what? My weekend was really good. Thank you. Busy. This morning, we're all having a bit of technical difficulties. There's apparently an outage with Fido and Rogers. So please be patient with your real estate professional today. They're having a bit of a nervous breakdown.
I know, it's like attached to my hip. Although I do find texting is still working, so we're okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
We have our health.
We do. That we do.
Okay, so I put together, because I love putting together PowerPoints, a little PowerPoint about market strategy. So how about we walk through it together, and then we can talk about what we feel is happening in the market, okay?
Okay.
All righty. So this is, I don't know, I have to, okay. So when we look at pricing homes, we have the seller's desired price range, which is on the top part, that green thing on the left, and the buyer's price range, and where they overlap is market value. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
Okay, and then when we look at, I like to show this pyramid because it shows where the overlap happens is where we're going to really get a lot of traction. But if we go just slightly above that, we then reach less people, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what is your, looking at this graph, what has been your strategy for pricing?
Well, you know, it's interesting right now for pricing. And of course, we always leave this up to our sellers to decide where they want to finally price their home. But what's weird right now is that, you know, almost, you know, if you're looking at where the orange is for the people watching the video, to hit that mark, previously you would have perhaps listed a little bit above to finally achieve that sale price and that mark. But now the opposite is true. So you'd want to be on the bottom end of that, even into the level below, to hit that mark. It's really kind of done a bit of a flip on itself.
So so a lot of people sort of are afraid of listing too low. How do you mitigate that? I mean, my strategy is you do delayed showings.
Exactly.
Delayed offers.
Yeah, we delay showings, we might, and by delay, we lump them together, try to get everyone sort of excited coming in, maybe on the weekend. And then for offers, you don't do them as they come in. You do them a couple days later, make sure that everyone has the chance to get their ducks in a row and really do their research so they actually are aware of value. I know I have a current listing right now where I have people calling me, and although we may be listed at a certain price point, people are calling me and telling me what the recent sales are, and we're fully aware of that. So anticipation is that when we do offers tomorrow, it should get there.
Right. So typically we used to do list, wait, and then it would sell.
Right.
Right. And so then the price would then come down. And we're not doing that because what we're finding is if you list, then you're going to sell. And I have a reason. I'll show you my reasoning for that, why this works. Is because if we look at everybody coming in, I'm finding when, as a listing agent, people are coming in and writing offers, and this is market value here. I'm having a few people come in here, a few people come like right where the 60% range is, right. And then we have the outlier coming in the plus 10% range.
Right.
And so what that means though is once the outlier is gone, the rest of the people are still looking in that orange range. So the mistake people make is if they list high, then they miss all the main buyers. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. And people do come out. It takes time. That's the challenge. I think, a lot of people think that, well, it's okay. I'll wait. I don't need to sell in a weekend. I'll wait. But they're not really grasping how tiring it is to have showings, because you'll still get your showings. You just may not get your offers, and how exhausting that can be to drag this out, even 2 weeks. It seems that once you hit that 2-week mark, people are calling and saying, well, what's wrong with it? It should have sold. Right. And, there's nothing wrong. Bring me your offer.
Right. And I find in a fast market, like before, in a regular market, it was maybe 3 to 6 weeks, and the seller would get tired of cleaning their house every day, and they'd be on high alert, and then no offers were coming, and they would be like, what's wrong with my property? And that's when you could kind of pounce and you would say to your buyer, well, just wait a bit. Now, if you wait, what's happening is more people are coming in and they're pushing the price up. Like I was showing a property on the weekend, and I said to the buyer, is there a reason why you don't like this property? And they're like, well, it's kind of like meh, that's the word MEH that the buyer gave me. And I'm like, well, it's not like we have a choice. Buy the property because
that might be okay. That might be okay right now. Yeah, sure.
Like you're not going to find the perfect property, but the thing is, if you have a property that doesn't have delayed offers, then write the offer now before you get the competition, because you could very well see this happening, right?
Oh yeah, and just because it didn't sell in the first week doesn't mean in week 2 suddenly a bunch of people have caught wind of this, and amazingly you have multiple offers, sometimes many times over, till it finally gets to where it needs to be. But if that takes a month, that's what it takes. But that is a direct result of pricing just to that little level above where it should have been.
Right. So what do you think is the magic number above? Like what percentage? I'm thinking it's if people, let's say this is 800,000, and so previously, if we listed 800,000, it would sell around 850 to 890. If we list at 890 here, it's going to sit on the market because all those people at the 800,000 mark aren't going to even look at it, right?
Right. And it likely will sell for what your asking is. It just takes the time, right? However, if you would have gone maybe $799, it would have gotten to that price just quicker. It really is. It's not that people aren't getting what they want. It's just taking a little longer to get there.
So this happened to me on the weekend a few weeks ago, where I had a listing and the seller wanted a little bit more than what I was recommending. It had been on the market previously, so it was relisted. We were asking, because the market's a little higher, they wanted to ask a little more. I didn't suggest that, and ended up we had to do a price reduction, and that's when it finally reached market value and it started to sell.
Did it go into multiples or just?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that could have happened the weeks earlier, but again, it always comes down to that seller's comfort level, right?
And I also want to say that, so what happens is when there's little things that are beyond our control as agents happen in the market. For instance, if there's a change in interest rates, or if there's a change in maybe a rule that affects housing, do you find that sales right away?
Oh, instantly. I often say that government and regulation is the biggest disruptor in real estate. They can grind things to a halt overnight, or things can suddenly, something new happens and suddenly all our phones are ringing off the hook. So yeah.
When they're working.
When they work.
So this is, I just wanted to show this last slide. This is what has been going on in the market for the past 2 years in houses. Yeah. So, and this is an average. And what I was doing a market analysis with some clients today. Because of average, one of the reasons why house prices have gone from just under 850 to now we're over $1 million is because there are more high-end houses selling. Are you finding that right now?
Oh, definitely. Before you'd never see the multiple offers happening in the 2 million plus zone, but here in the Lower Mainland, we see that. That is now becoming commonplace. So that would never have happened before. There was only so many buyers for that product. It's definitely done that.
What is the point where, when you're listing, like if I'm listing a home in the core of Victoria, and if it's at like the 850 to 900 range, I know for sure I'm going to get multiple offers. Right. What is that range for you guys?
Well, multiple offers here. I even think 1.2 up to there. Like, I think you're pretty much guaranteed up to 1.2. You're going to see that multiple offer. It used to be $1 million. And once we hit that $1 million threshold, and it was pretty steady over that, for a long time, properties in Surrey were just under $1 million. The average price was just under $1 million. And once they went over, they went over.
Yeah, we've just passed that.
Yeah. And once it hits that, and once people, because you're financing, the rules change. Once you hit that threshold, the rules change. Again, so it comes that regulation is what really then sort of, makes the difference. But now it seems that up to 1.2, everything's sort of flying off the shelf. And yeah, beyond, it's still selling. And like I said, even I've seen over 2 million, multiple offers.
So here it's just under $1 million. We are definitely getting multiples. I would say 800,000 to 900,000. It's like pew, flies off the shelf. Sure. But it's just gone over $1 million, and we're finding it's hot. I would say, before it used to be around 1.2, it would hesitate. Now that's gone up to 1.5. But what are you telling buyers? So buyers are saying stuff like, well, I have a buyer who I'm educating from Edmonton right now. Stephen Lau referred them to me. And they're like, well, why can we screen out these properties that are underpriced? And I said, no, because first of all, there's no criteria to do that. But also, right, they're in that core group, here, that are the core buyers that are making those properties. They're not the outlier. So what do you say to those people, though?
Well, in some cases, it's not necessarily the time for them. you know, as we never want to say to someone, I can't help you right now, unless you're really prepared to act. And in some cases, if you love it, you're going to have to become that outlier. And unless you're prepared to do so, this may not be the time. This is crazy right now, but Jane, I'm already sensing there's a little bit of a shift where before, if we saw 20 offers, maybe we're seeing 5. So we already know, even though it's strictly still in that seller's market territory here, there's no doubt there's a bit of a change, just a bit. And in some neighborhoods, there isn't one. It just depends where you are that we're really starting to feel that. So it will change, and then it will become the buyer's turn. So we know
I
that.
find a lot of buyers say to me, "Hey Jane, can you tell me what this is worth?" And I'm like, well, if this was a car, I have to at least open up the hood and look in the hood and sniff around to figure out, you know, like what it's really worth. That I can. So they say to me, "Well, this property's been on the market for 30 days. Why is that?" I'm
Right.
like, "Well,
What's
they
wrong
may
with
have."
it? Yeah. What's wrong with it?
Right. And sometimes they've had an offer, but it has fallen through, and that can really cause a problem.
I had that happen twice to a recent listing of mine, if you can believe it. And that comes down to buyers agents not being prepared, or taking people out, buyers out who aren't ready to go, qualified enough, and who can afford it. I mean, I wouldn't dream of taking a buyer into a home, let alone writing an offer on a property that I wasn't 100% sure that they could afford it.
So when you're looking at offers, multiple offers, I find I'm judging who the realtor is who's bringing it in. Like, how many sales have they done? Not who they are as a person, but how many sales have they done? What's the list to sale ratio? I'm looking at the history of the realtor. I'm asking them about the buyer. You know, have they been pre-qualified? Do they have their deposit ready? You know, have they done their due diligence on the house if it's unconditional? Because nobody wants an unhappy buyer, right?
Oh, absolutely. And then, you know, you can almost tell too, there's a thing that's happening here, which is a bit concerning, where, you know, this weekend I had showings at a beautiful listing that I have, and agents are making appointments. I'm there opening the door, and buyers are showing up without their agent. Now, when we sit down, you know, tomorrow to look at offers on this property and the agent hasn't even seen the listing, do you think those offers are going to be competitive, or stand any chance to somebody who's come in and do a bit of their due diligence and knows?
Okay, so we're going to go off topic.
There we are.
I have a real problem with that. And I mean, we're both part of a forum where we see that a lot, and we see mainland realtors complaining about that. Mm-hmm. So why are you at the property showing it as a listing agent?
For that very reason. For that very reason. This has something that started, I want to say, about a year ago. I had to stop using lock boxes because agents were not attending the showings. I even had a case where my beautiful, you know, clients, they're lovely people having a party, had their front door open because caterers were coming in and out. And I got a phone call because buyers were walking around their house. No realtor, people. So
do you guys have the Sentry or the Supra lock boxes?
The blue ones. So the Supras, yeah. So we literally had to stop because sadly there are people who are giving their codes to their buyers. So even if you need an extra code to get into the box,
you have a different lockbox system. We can't do that here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so you can't give a 1-day pass here or anything.
Well, it's not even a pass. You just need the app on your phone. So someone has the app on the phone. It's a Sentry. So, you know, you have the Sentry app. You open it up. the boxes are Bluetooth. So you just sort of punch in your little code into that app and it opens up the lockbox. So because that happened to me a few times, I had to make the prudent judgment that at this time, until that practice has stopped and that I know that the agent is attending the showing, I have to be there or have a representative there. So one of my unlicensed assistants can go, they can open the door, they can't answer any questions, but at least they can be there for security reasons.
I've had that happen one time in 15 years. And it was the agent literally forgot the appointment, but she would have been there and she called and apologized. Like, that's terrible.
Well, and it happens. I mean, you know what? we're all really busy right now. Sometimes we are overbooked. You know, I've had people call me and say, Laura, I'm on my way. I'm literally, and I know them. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm there. My buyers are there. Help. If I'm there, you know, I can open the door and just let that happen and not, you know, and I don't even get upset about that. That doesn't, opening the door and showing my listing, I'm more than happy to do that. I will do that all day long if I have to get it sold for my client. But we have to be concerned for the consumer.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, we had a story about a guy who once wrote an offer and there was an oil tank in the house and he didn't know about it. And so, you know, you just have to wonder whether or not somebody is being represented well if their agent's not going to show up. And sometimes here we do have a clause, and I never understood the meaning of the clause until I had some agents from out of town ask me to show their clients' properties on their behalf. And they were going to write and not show up. So I would say this is not the norm, everybody. This is the exception. And definitely if your agent doesn't show up, you need to have a talk with them. And that's reprehensible.
Yeah, and one-offs do happen, and you know, people get sick last minute as well. I mean, you know, especially in this time, I don't want, if you have you're running a fever, you woke up today, you're running a fever or coughing, please don't come to my listing. I don't want you there either. And if your buyer's okay and you haven't been around them, sure, exceptions will happen, but when it's
and she's stuck. Okay. Well, hopefully she'll come back. Okay. Anyway, the point is regarding listings is that you really want to see where the market value is, where the listings are that are bringing in the prices, and you're looking at listing as well as sale
starting
price.
to become
Oh. Hello. Listing too high is going to put you at a bit of a disadvantage. Oh, there you are. Because you're going to then not attract all the major buyers. Hello.
Yeah.
You're back.
Okay. Well, and it is, you know what, I think bottom line, to go back to what we were talking about, pricing, and it used to be the sweet spot would be, you know, if you had a town.
I'm not sure what's going on. Okay. Okay, if you want to reach Laura June, you can reach her at Laura June at laurajunerealestate.com.
House.
You totally went there. You're coming in and out. Anyway, you can reach her at Laura June Real Estate at 1-604-351-8977. If you want more information about real estate in Victoria, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group, briarhillgroup at gmail.com. My number is 250-744-0775. And next week, Russell Cass is going to be joining us from Home Check and Island Depreciation Reports. He's going to be talking to us about the power of depreciation reports in sales and helping people determine the value of condos and townhouses and other strata properties, and what you're responsible for and what you should be looking out for when you buy or sell a property. All right, everybody, have a great week. We will see you later. Bye-bye.